This is my client, Karl. He came to me in a position where he'd always been self-conscious of how he looked. He was avoiding wearing nice clothes and just chose to wear baggy clothes to hide his appearance. And he'd actually, upon just before joining, he'd just been on holiday to baking hot Spain, and he didn't take his top off once, not once. And he said to me, he got back home and he was just embarrassed about it. He's embarrassed that he'd let it get to this position, and when he was there, he was just ashamed and didn't want to take his top off, didn't feel comfortable enough to do so. Now, Karl had been in this position for a long time, and it wasn't for a lack of trying. He'd tried a lot of different things. He'd tried things like generic apps and plans, couch to 5K, keto, P90X. He'd been going to the gym on and off with no structure, but he was trying. Yet his weight was only moving in one direction, and it wasn't the direction that he wanted it to go in. He'd sometimes make some sort of progress, but it never stuck. And he always hated the diets that he went on. He'd always thought that he needed to eat more like cabbage soup diet kind of style. And in Karl's words, he was more of a meat and potatoes kind of guy. So even the thought of a diet just filled him with dread. He'd lose all motivation. He'd never be able to hold himself to account. He'd always let himself off the hook. And I mean, why wouldn't you? When you don't really know where you're aiming, you don't really know if you're going to get the results that you want, why wouldn't you? And he was totally fed up of his situation. He wanted change. Now, across a 12-month period, Karl achieved some insane results, to say the least. He lost 22 kg. He did a photo shoot, as you can see in the picture here, with his kit off. He went back on holiday to Spain in the same place that he went the previous year. And we were chatting whilst he was away and when he came back, and he barely put a top on. His increase in confidence and just his overall happiness was immense. Okay, so here's how we did it. We used our in and out training system. We used our in and out training system, enjoyable, easy prep nutrition, and we utilized our chameleon coach approach. So, what did this look like? So our in and out training system, we had to be on the ball with this. Karl did not have time to fuck about in the gym, right? He was literally squeezing in 3 sessions where he could. Okay, he is an exceptionally busy guy. He was working full time and running his own personal farm as well on top of his job. So the hours in the day were sparse, to say the least. Okay, we actually did an audit of his time so we could see, right, are there any gaps? What does the day actually look like? And it was pretty mad. Okay, but he always did what he could. He never shied away from the fact that, yeah, I'm working a lot, I'm working hard, but I want to get these results, I'm going to turn up. So we had 3 by 45 to 60 minute hard-hitting, efficient, effective gym sessions. We didn't have time to fuck about. So it was get in, make the most out of the time that we're here, and make sure that we are progressing on this every single week. Which was a big turnaround from what he thought he needed to do before. Like, he had always thought he needed to be in there 5 days a week, in there for at least an hour to 90 minutes thinking I need to do more. But the key here was actually to do less, but what we filled it with made it more. Then we had to utilize a new outlook with nutrition. Okay, we used easy prep nutrition with food options that he actually enjoyed. Okay, he loved a particular chili meal from our recipe packs, but this meant that he could get in what he needed in terms of his calories, his protein, etc., but also food quality, not resent it like he had done the previous diets that he'd been on, and therefore actually be consistent with it, because fit his taste, fit his life, and it fit his goals. We also taught Karl how to be able to have the odd drink here and there without it derailing his progress. You see, Karl was a biker and went to biking events occasionally. He was partial to going down the pub, seeing his friends. So we taught him how to be inclusive of, in Karl's case, having the odd doom bar. Okay, it wasn't all the time, but he still wanted to be able to enjoy the odd drink. The next thing we did, which was really important here, was we utilized our chameleon coach approach. I was there to call Karl out on his shit. You know, I challenged him on his thoughts, his beliefs, his actions, but always with his best interests at heart. Okay, so I always gave him all of the support he needed to navigate whatever came up. And when we were having a conversation at his photo shoot, actually, we were laughing and he just said, look, this was great for me because I knew no matter what I said, you weren't going to be fobbed off. I knew there was no excuse that I could use because it would only be me that actually believed it. Because there is always a way around something, okay? Like, there's two different mentalities, all or something, or all or nothing, and we can always turn up and do something, okay? Which is, you know, something that we really had to utilize with Karl and the crazy schedule that he did have. And just to go back to this, as a result, he lost the 22 kg. He's truly happy and confident now. He's not living a life of worry, concern, embarrassment. He's happy and he's confident. Now, if you're looking to achieve something similar to Karl, make this the last time that you need to start again, then I'd love to offer you a 10-minute curiosity call with myself where we will just chat about you and the goals that you have, the struggles that you might be facing right now, and if we're aligned, we can book in a second call to chat more. And from that second call, if things sound good to you, you're ready to get going, great. We can get started straight away. If not, no problem whatsoever. Even after that first 10-minute call, if things aren't quite right between the two of us, we're not the best fit, I will at the very least do my best to point you in the right direction of a free resource that I might have or somebody else that might be able to help you. Okay, so if that sounds good to you, if you're watching this on YouTube, there'll be a link in the description. If you're listening to this on the podcast, then just reach out to myself on socials or email and just say curiosity, and we can get that booked in at a time that suits. And I really look forward to speaking to you.